the passing of a loved one is that they don't leave you. They're not gone. You're never not going to see them again or feel them again. And the truth is, you will experience this. If any of you watching have lost someone that you love dearly, they've passed on from this earth plane, I want to say that I want to speak with you. And for those of you who will lose someone you love dearly on this earth plane, I want to speak to you, because the word death is not going to elude any of us. We're all going to experience this reckoning. And also we're going to face our own deaths one day. And death is one of those things that I think some people actually fear. Whether they fear their own death and their own mortality, or they fear that a loved one will leave them. And the truth is, you will experience this. And I've had some really profound experiences in my own life, and I have a different take on the passing of loved ones. And I don't think I would have this view if it wasn't from my own personal experiences that started quite young. And also sitting with a lot of different healers around the world, which have been profound in my healing around two specific loved ones in my life. And I'll get into that in a minute, because their take on the passing of a loved one is that they don't leave you. They're not gone. You're never not going to see them again or feel them again. Depending on the tradition and from the different ancient lineage line, some believe that they take on a different form, whether you'll see them in a butterfly, or you'll see them in a dragonfly, or you'll see them in something that remind you of them because they had an association with it when they were on this earth plane. I know so many of you have experienced that. And they also believe that they will give you signs of their existence in the spirit realm through different things. And I have a really cool story to share with you about that, because they do it if you're open to it. They don't want to scare you, but they will communicate with you through objects that we actually deal with if you're open to seeing it, because they do love you. They don't want you to be sad. This is what I truly believe, and so many other healers around the world believe this as well. One of my first most profound experiences with death and loss was when I was 12 years old. So you see, I had a boyfriend. It was my first boyfriend. And as all 12-year-olds, especially me, a spunky 12-year-old, if he did anything that I didn't like, I let him know. And I broke up with him. I was like, no longer want to be your girlfriend. I think we can all relate to these quick girlfriend-boyfriend scenarios. Well, this particular boy was, in his mind, I was his first love. He would tell me that he loved me. And he was, I would say, that my first love too. It was my first time having all those big emotions of love, and even my first kiss. And he had a big heart. He had a lot of emotion. And I remember him writing me letters saying, we need to get back together. And I was like, no, just being my 12-year-old self. And I remember one time he came to me, because we still communicated a lot, even though I had very clear boundaries that we were no longer boyfriend, girlfriend, but we ran in the same circles. And he came to me and he said, Danette, I've been doing a lot of thinking. And my dad, he has this mountain out on his ranch. His parents were separated at the time, and he said, I'm gonna go up on top of that mountain and I'm gonna do some good thinking. And I was thinking, yes, I'm so proud of you, because he had some anger issues, and he was navigating life as a 12-year-old. And like I said, a lot of big emotions, a lot of heart and soul within him. About a week later, after he'd been on his dad's farm, I got a call from his mother that he had committed suicide on top of that hill. This was premeditated, which often can happen in suicidal situations. But you can imagine my 12-year-old heart hearing this phone call from his mother, and she said, he wrote 2 letters, one for me and one for you. And of course, as a mother that has gone through this, she was reaching out to me because I was a lifeline to her son. He had written me a letter, and so she was like, if he loved you, I want to love you too. Well, will you come over and talk to me? And I remember feeling overwhelmed, feeling so much grief, so much sadness. I want to say that if you've lost someone or you've experienced suicidal thoughts, to please contact a professional. You're not alone, because this is real. This can happen to a lot of people when we get really down. And I went to her home, and I remember walking in and seeing all the baby pictures of him and feeling the heaviness of the sadness in the air. And she handed me this envelope of this letter that he wrote to me. And as a 12-year-old, this was gut-wrenching. I remember reading it thinking, I wish I would have done more. I wish I would have been a better friend. And now as I'm older, I recognize there's nothing more I could have done. But as a 12-year-old, this was heavy. And it kept me at bay from a lot of men from 12 years on until I got into my late 20s. I didn't want anyone to love me. I didn't want anyone to get too close. I didn't want to be their suffering. I have since learned that these passing of these souls, because even in the religion I grew up in at that time, which I think they meant well, but they said it was a sin, that he had committed a sin, and now I was never even going to be unified with him ever again because he had committed a sin, and therefore on the other side we were never going to see each other. As you can imagine, this was a lot for my little 12-year-old heart, and so I've done a lot of diving in and communicating with him, and have found that he has asked for forgiveness. I've talked with a lot of people who have passed over, had near-death experiences, and they always say that if you pass over and then come back, they share with you what they see. And what they end up seeing is this tremendous love, forgiveness, understanding of the human complexities that we all have. So I could feel that he was saying, hey, please forgive me. It's not your fault. It's not my parents' fault. It's not your fault. I might have written certain things, but that was my human self, my spirit self saying, please forgive me, and you're okay, and I'm rooting for you in your life. And I remember feeling that energy and going, wow, he isn't gone. He's just communicating in a new way. And then fast forward, I'm pregnant with my second child. It's gonna be a boy. I'm so excited, and he passes on. But without going into the full story, I learned through that most very difficult experience the power that the spirit is still here. I have been visited through his spirit many, many times. My daughters have been visited by his spirit many, many times. And now I come to this understanding on a deep, deep level, with deep reverence for any emotion you may be feeling, that these loved ones, they sometimes transition so that they can actually be a guiding light for you in this lifetime. And they can actually help you more being in another realm than being here in this physical form to touch. And you may have a hard time understanding how can they actually give me more if they're in another realm. And the reason they can is because they can see the whole picture that you can't see. They can make connections for you. They can actually buoy you up and help heal your body on another realm. They can bring people into your life. They can remove people from your life that are not great for your soul's evolution. You see, they often can pass so that they can help in new ways. And their contract may look different than your contract. And who's to say that if someone is born and lives to 98, that's a fulfilling life? There are so many people that maybe don't even take their first breath or even live till 4 or 5 that have more impact than someone who's lived till 98. It's not the lineage of time. It's about the impact of that soul. And how did they impact you, and how are they continually impacting you? I had a beautiful friend who I played pickleball with, and he's not like what we would call a spiritual person, and his father passes away. And it's so difficult for him. He's like, oh my gosh, my dad was my best friend. He died so suddenly. I miss him. And he's not in the spiritual realm, right? He doesn't believe what I believe yet. He doesn't understand that he believes his dad's gone and he's never gonna see him again. That's his belief. And we're out there, I'm listening to him, and I know this is his heart, but I love this man. I love playing pickleball with him, and we go out onto the court. And I tell you, I've been on this court many times, many years, so has he. And as soon as I say, hey, I'm so sorry about your father, but I want you to know he's here. I can feel that he's here. This like very loud, very close to us prop plane that's like old type prop plane that I've never seen before starts going over us to stop our conversation. And we look up and this prop plane's going over us. And I'm like, whoa, it stopped us in conversation. I don't know what this prop plane's doing. I don't have any affiliation with a prop plane, but it goes and we like look up at it, you know, it's got all this exhaust coming out of it and it creates a heart with this exhaust at us. And my friend just starts to cry. And he goes, how did you know my dad's here? And I go, because I felt him. And he goes, My dad flew an exact prop plane, I'm getting chills as I share this story. My dad flew that exact same prop plane, same color, same design, which it was an old model. I've never seen one before. And to this day, I've never seen one like that again. It created a heart in the sky. And I grabbed him and I said, I know that he wants you to know he's here. And so he had many more experiences like that, you know, where his father was into collecting coins. That was his thing. You know, he had passed. It was a month later after he passed. He always had his favorite spot in a certain chair in his living room. Country guy. Like his one spot every night he sat in and he collected coins. A month later, his mom is clean freak. That house is completely cleaned. He's passed on. Family members have come in and out. The living room's been deep cleaned. Walks in, missing him. Give me a sign, tell me that you're here. Coin sitting right where he always sat. Can't tell me that these physical objects can move, can show up in your life in animal form, physical objects to show you that these loved ones are here and they're guiding you and they love you. And if you didn't get to say certain things, they forgive you. And if they said things that have hurt you, forgive them. They're so sorry. I hope this message has helped you. It's been an honor to share these deep, beautiful stories with you around a very deep topic.